Om Jnanatimanasya Shanam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Ichetayanavistam Saptaminam Tadistamukadanyam Dadanti Spapanam Tukam Vandhyam Shigo Shigoda Padakamanam Shigo Vaishavam Sam Yopam Chavichatam Saganagnatam Vitam Tam Sati Pansam Vektam Sabdutam Vaitam Saitam Shri Krishna Chaya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Saganalita Shiksha Vitam Shah Hare Krishna Govana Sundari Bhagavati Adpati Gopesha Gopakantara Tapta Kanshna Gavan Tekunda Kanshna Vishwan Sutadevi Pranama Bhakta Vishal Vipasna Vishal Patam Bhavanyo Vaishnavyo Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shri Vasanti Gauranga Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, 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 Bhakti Vedanta Swami. Namaste, Saraswati Devi, Gauranga Swami. Nirvishesha, Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada came in the last section, second. We heard of Krishna is instructing Arjuna. Karmanya Karasti, Mahakaleshvaraj, Makamaleta Gurma, Pakam. You should perform your duties and without being attached to the fruits of your action. That and you should never consider yourself to be the cause of your activities. Be desire only. And what happens is all up to Krishna. And one should not be attached to not doing one duty. So no aversion. This requires equanimity in mind, that not to be attached to the result. And that equanimity in mind, Krishna says, is yoga. It gives the definition of yoga, yoga ko karmani sangam jaktva dananjaya siddha sitya samabhutvam samadvam yoga uchate. This samadvam, this equanimity, Krishna says, is yoga. And what is this equanimity? Not attached to the result, whether it's success or failure. Not attached to the result does not mean that one should not strive for the best result. But then the result comes, and that's up to Krishna. And we will get a bit further. We will get the analogy that Srila Prabhupada gives in a purport of the cashier in a bank. He's sitting behind the counter and someone brings $50,000 to deposit of his bank account. He receives it, and is he happy? No, it's for the bank, it's not for me. And then someone withdraws $100,000 from the account. Is the cashier going to cry? I have to give it? No, it's from the bank. So we consider everything Krishna's. It's not ours. And we are doing just the service. And the result, that's for Krishna. That's this equanimity in mind. That interesting in the purpose, and that's on the screen here. The following of Krishna's dictation is real yoga. Further, Srila Prabhupada in many places says that devotion service means following the dictations of the secret soul within. So Krishna is in our heart, but we don't hear him, and we don't hear his dictations because our heart is contaminated. So how can we follow then his dictation? Well, what he dictates from within the heart is the same as he dictates here in the Bhagavad Gita. Thus, Srila Prabhupada writes later in Bhagavad Gita, if one follows Krishna's dictations in his book under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, one will get the same result as Arjuna. Interesting. Arjuna speaking this Bhagavad Gita on the battlefield, maybe 1.5 hours, 2 hours. And Arjuna got it. That's great. Or as it may not suppose. So the following of Krishna's dictation is real yoga. So that's yoga. Linking up with Krishna. Yoga means linking up. We link up with Krishna if we follow his instructions. And this is practiced in a process called Krishna consciousness. By Krishna consciousness, only one can give up the sense of proprietorship, like the cashier. It's from the bank. So we think it's from Krishna. It's not mine. It may be under my care to be used. The devotee never takes it. So one has to become a servant of Krishna, or the servant of Krishna. That is the right way to discharge duty in Krishna consciousness, which alone can help one to act in Krishna consciousness. So that means we have to become the servant of servants. So when we do devotional service, we do it on behalf of the spiritual master. They are a servant of the spiritual master. And the spiritual master is a servant of his spiritual master, and so further. And that's the principle. And 49, with the verse again. O Dhananjaya, keep all abominable activities far distant by devotional service, and that consciousness surrender unto the Lord. Those who want to enjoy the fruits of their work are masters. So the point Srila Prabhupada makes here in the Bible is one was actually understood that I'm a part of Krishna and I'm a servant of Krishna, and that's everyone's dharma. Srila Prabhupada explains the word dharma. What does it mean, dharma? That some may translate it as religion, but it's not that. Dharma means, Srila Prabhupada says, that what cannot be changed. Like you have water. Water, the quality of water is that it's wet. Water is always wet. Sugar is always sweet. If it's not sweet, is it sugar? No. So this is, in the same way, the constitution of a living entity is that it's a servant. We must all serve. We may not agree to serve Krishna, but still we are serving. Then we are serving Krishna's Maya. But we are servant, always servant. That the husband serves his wife, the wife serves the husband, the employee serves the boss, the man walks the dog and serves the dog, but the mother serves the children. Everyone is serving, but that service should be directed toward Krishna. Now it's misdirected to things in this material world. That's the problem. That it's not a very difficult thing to misdirect. This is, I spoke yesterday or the day before about that I was employed. I was the head of administration of a department in a big hospital. And this hospital was started by the sisters, Janssen sisters from the Benedict order, which was founded nearly 1,000 years ago in Rome. And some of these sisters, Benedict sisters, they were serving in the hospital. And I was asking one of these Benedict sisters, how do you see your service from a spiritual viewpoint? Well, she said, I'm seeing this as, I'm seeing Jesus Christ in everyone. And I'm serving Jesus Christ by doing this service. I found it interesting. This is Krishna consciousness. That Krishna is in the heart of everyone. And you serve Krishna in the heart. That's, yes. Service. So, if we serve Krishna, our heart becomes purified, becomes happy. If we serve anything else in this world, then as a result, you become further entangled in material bondage. You will become frustrated, unhappy. So we have just to redirect the service towards Krishna. That was the end. Now we come to stop share that moment. Back to that. Yeah. Oh, it's still there. Interesting. But, so now we come to the next section that Krishna will speak. He spoke before about Buddhi Yoga, about his devotional service. What happens when you perform this devotional service? You will become disinterested in all Vedic rituals, all this karma kanda, all these things for getting material benefits in this world. That if you perform the devotional service, Krishna will say in this section, you will become free from your past karma, your sinful reactions. And you will attain liberation from the cycle of birth and death. And what happens then? You go back to God. So Arjuna before said he was Evam Papa, he was afraid to get simple reactions. But Krishna will tell him now, you perform devotional service, and all your simple reactions from the past will go. That's just the opposite. But then, okay, Krishna has described devotional service. Then Arjuna, because Krishna called a devotee fixed in devotional life, Stita Bhakti. So Arjuna will ask, such a Stita Prakya, person fixed in Krishna consciousness, how can you tell me more about his symptoms? How does he walk? How does he sit? What does he do? That how can I recognize? And then Krishna will describe how the devotee is transcendental by body, mind, and words. How he has given up all material desires, is equipoised, is detached, is fixed on Krishna always. And when the devotee experiences these symptoms, while experiencing them, is enjoying a higher taste, boundless fun. And he feels completely satisfied in this circumstance. So that's what we got here in this section of the first verse. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 650. Buddhi Yukti Yata Tiha Ubeshikati Duskate Tasmat Yuraya Yuchasva Yoga Kamaspasam. Man engaged in devotional service creates himself of both good and bad reactions in this life. Therefore, strive for yoga, which is the art of all work. The materialistic people don't like that. They want to get rid of their bad reactions, but not of the good ones. No, that's what they want. Srila Prabhupada was on a train in India, and a businessman came to him and he asked for blessings. And Prabhupada said, because Tamal Krishna Maharaj was just sitting near him, and he said to the businessman, you don't want the blessings. And the businessman goes, what are your blessings? And Prabhupada said, you will become like him, pointing to the Tamal Krishna. Mostly they want the blessings to be happy in this world, but that's not a blessing. Prabhupada gives the blessing. Krishna conscious inspiration. Using one's body, mind, and words in service of the Lord always. So, in the Bhagavad Gita found that one's ignorance can be removed by the instruction of Bhagavad Gita. But which teaches one to surrender to Krishna in all respects and become liberated from the chain victimization of action and reaction, birth after birth. Arjuna is therefore advised to act in Krishna consciousness in the purifying process of resultant action. Here's a quote of Prabhupada from a lecture in New York, 1966. It's really the early ones. Yoga karma sukausalam. Kausalam means expert trick. There are two workers. One man is very expert, and another man is not so adept. Perhaps something is wrong with a machine, and the man who is not very expert works all day to repair it. The expert arrives and immediately makes a few minor adjustments, and the machine starts. So kusala means auspicious, and kusala leads to kausala. That means if you know how to work on a platform of yoga, that is the highest technique of doing work. Persons who are not working towards spiritual realization may be engaged in work for 8 hours a day only. But those who are working towards spiritual realization are engaged 24 hours every day. The difference is that on the material platform, on the body concept of life, if you work for 8 hours only, you feel fatigued. But if you work 20 hours on a spiritual level, you won't feel fatigued. Interesting. You don't need much sleep. That is true, and it is my practical experience. I'm here with you. I'm always fatigued. That is true, and it is my practical experience. I'm here with you. I'm always working, reading, or writing 24 hours at a time. When I feel hungry, I take some food. When I feel tired, I go to bed. Otherwise, always, I don't feel fatigued. You can ask Mr. Paul if this is my practice. I take pleasure in this. I don't feel tired. Similarly, when one achieves that spiritual sun, he will not want to waste time sleeping. Okay. But most of us are not on that platform yet, but it's encouraging to hear that. Good. Text 51. Karmajam buddhiyuttahi palam chakvam yeshima tanma bhakta vinumanta palam katsantamayam. By those engaging in devotion service to the Lord, great saints, all devotees, preach themselves from the results of work in the material world. In this way, they become free from the cycle of birth and death and attain the state beyond miseries by going back to Godhead. So here you have it. That, and in the Bhagavad Srila Prabhupada quotes this verse spoken by Brahman, who speaks about the boat or the lotus feet of the Lord. And that's a very nice verse, 10, 14, 15. It's quoted many times by Srila Prabhupada. Samasritaya padapala paplavam matvam punyaya somugare pavam bhati vasadam padam padam padam. For one who has accepted the boat of the lotus feet of the Lord, which is shelter of the cosmic manifestation and is famous as Mukunda, or the giver of Mukti, the ocean of the material world is like the water contained in a cow's footprint. Parampadam, or the place where there are no material miseries, or Vaikuntha is his goal, not a place where there is danger every step. So, talk about makes in the purport. No kind of material body in the universe can give life without miseries. Later saying, this material universe is a place of suffering. My Goran's Bhakti ceremonies always said, do you realize this body is a machine to give you pain? That's what pleasure can give you? And he points out like this stump, what pleasure can give you? Very little. But you can get a lot of pain by it. You can burn it. It can be frozen in the winter. You can walking with a hammer and up on the thumb. There's so many ways it can give you pain. And that's the fact. One can say, oh, this Hare Krishna are very pessimistic. On the material platform, we must be pessimistic. But on the spiritual platform, we are most optimistic. We have heard Krishna saying we are eternal. That's a reason to be optimistic. We are not his body, that's also a good reason to be optimistic. But at the same time, we must be very pessimistic. or realistic toward material energy. When you only thinks that the living energy position and the Lord's position are on the same level is to be understood in the darkness and therefore unable to engage in certain devotional service. So that's a condition to engage in devotional service. You have to be situated in Sambandhyan, and that Sambandhyan is re-establishing our relationship with Krishna. To be re-established in that relationship, there are three conditions: knowing who Krishna is, and then knowing who we are, and then knowing what our relationship is. These three things, and that requires knowledge. If one thinks I'm equal to Krishna, then there is no use. But, you cannot engage in devotional service. But one who understanding that his position is to serve and first himself to the service of the Lord, one contradictual or Vaikuntha Loka. So in Vaikuntha, what's the consciousness of everyone in Vaikuntha? One remembers every moment Narayan, right? For the consciousness of people in this material world, that we have forgotten Krishna. We put ourselves in the center. In Vaikuntha, they put Krishna in the center. And what do they do in the spiritual world? They serve Narayan. The material world, we serve ourselves. We forget Krishna, and we enjoy or try to enjoy. Good luck. It will never happen. Text 52. 51, 52. That's interesting verse. Yatate moa kalinam udiyapyanti trishyati tadagandats nikvedam shkotapasyati pasyatatyattam. When your intelligence is found out of the dense forest of illusion, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard. All that is indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard. Many devotees, they come in contact with Krishna consciousness. They start reading Prabhupada's books and they throw all the other books out. No interest anymore. All these things. That no interest anymore in drinking alcohol, no interest in illicit sex, no interest in meat eating. All these things go out, no interest to the news, all these things that is polluting your consciousness. That they come out of the forest of illusion. That the last paragraph. The Vedic rites and rituals are imperative for the neophyte, comprehending all kinds of prayers 3 times a day, taking bath early in the morning, offering respects to the forefathers and so on. So these are the rituals described in the Vedas. But when one is fully in Krishna consciousness and is engaged in transcendental loving service, one becomes indifferent to all these regulated principles, because he has already attained perfection. So perfection, that's interesting. But we just said, what are they doing in Vaikuntha? They are glorifying the Lord, remembering the Lord, serving the Lord. What are we doing in ISKCON? Same thing. They are glorifying the Lord, serving the Lord. That we are doing the same thing in the spiritual world. So for us, but when we leave this body at the end, it doesn't matter where we go. We continue doing that and without consciousness. Then when it comes to the spiritual platform, it doesn't matter where you are. Heaven, hell, or Vaikuntha, Goloka Vrindavan. No, you are with your consciousness on the spiritual platform. You have already attained perfection. If one reaches the platform of understanding the service of the Supreme Lord Krishna, he has no longer to execute different types of penances and sacrifices as recommended in the scripture, in the scripture. Be careful, we have to continue following the four-regulated principle. You have to follow. But when you come on the platform of spontaneous love, it becomes natural. That you don't have any problem with that. But Sharma said that when he joined Mayapur, he had to get up early. He was used to sleep till 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. It was very difficult. But he said the devotees were very merciful. 4 o'clock in the morning, they were so kind to lift him out of his sleeping bed. But then Guru Maharaj said, now, so many years later, I get up before my alarm. Spontaneous. So that is that. And similarly, if one has not understood that the purpose of the Vedas is to reach Krishna, it's simply engaging in rituals, it's useless wasting your time in such engagement. Because it does serve only about Veda. The purpose of the Vedas is to understand and serve Krishna. And one does rituals and does not think of Krishna. So what's the point? You said that person Krishna conscious transcends the limit of Saptavarna or the range of the Vedas and Upanishads. Right. That's 452. Small quote. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam 244. Mother Veda Puri. Let the sharp moralists accuse me of being illusioned. I do not mind. Experts in the Vedic activities may slander me as being misled. Friends and relatives may call me frustrated. My brothers call me a fool. The wealthy Maimonides may point me out as mad, and the learned philosophers may assert me that I'm much too proud. Still, my mind is not budged an inch from the determination to serve the Lord's feet of Govinda, though I be unable to do. That means that's the determination we need to get out of this forest of delusion. 53. Vritti vipranti panate yadasta shanti nishtanam samadam panchana bhuktis tata yogam apakshasi. When your mind is no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, and when it remains fixed in the trance of self-realization, then you will have attained the divine consciousness. Yeah. One remains fixed in the trance of self-realization. What is self-realization? It's acting as a servant of Krishna. And that becomes a trance. Yes. That one feels affection, devotion. That is a perfection. That the highest perfection of self-realization is to understand that one is an eternally the servant of Krishna. And that is one's only business to discharge one's duties in Krishna consciousness. The last one of the prophet. One has only to carry out the orders of Krishna that always representatives, but on master. So, what is samadhi according to this purport? Samadhi means that one is situated in his position as eternal servant. That one understands this and one acts upon this. And that's devotional service to Krishna. That's samadhi. So about the Vedas, we have heard. So one must follow the rituals of the Vedas. The neophyte must follow. But if he does that, and does not understand that the purpose is to reach Krishna, is wasting his time. But when we understand Krishna and our relationship with him, one becomes indifferent to these rituals. Because these rituals is only meant to help us to come to that point. So person Krishna consciousness transcends the ritualistic activity. Good. And now Arjuna will ask his question. Arjuna speaks to Krishna and asks, Arjuna uvacha stita bhaktyasya karapasa samadhitasya keshava stita de kim pavansita kim asita vacheta kim. So stita de, we will hear later about stita de. Stita de is one who is fixed in Krishna consciousness. That, and it's also called the Stita Prahyasya, one who is situated or fixed in Krishna consciousness. Yeah. And such a person is Samadhistasya, is situated always in trance. So Arjuna said to Krishna, without the symptoms of one who is conscious, whose consciousness is merged into transcendence. How does he speak? What is his language? How does he sit? How does he move? That, the middle of the purport. A man in the transcendental consciousness of Krishna has specific symptoms in various feelings. One can know these symptoms from Bhagavad Gita. The immediate symptom of a Krishna conscious person is that he speaks only of Krishna or matters related to Krishna or the service of Krishna. Other symptoms then automatically follow as stated below. That's important. When we speak with each other, do we speak about Krishna or the service of Krishna? Or do we speak something about other things not related to the service of Krishna? And, what to speak? Anutriyakam Bhakyam Satyam Priyai Satyam. We'll hear in the 17th chapter, austerity of speech. One should speak the truth, but in a pleasing way, not agitate the mind of others. To be learned how to speak with each other. And a lot to say about that. Could give a sermon on that point. It's such a deep knowledge that so let's see, we have a quote on 55. I read the short one. Vishwanath Bhakti Thakur. The second question is, how does he speak? That this means, how are his intelligence and words affected by another's affection, anger, or neutrality? In other words, how does he respond? We will hear now more. Krishna replies, and in the next 3-4 verses, he will give symptoms of one who is transcendentally situated in Krishna consciousness. So we said, we have to hear Bhagavad Gita and think, what's in there for me? Do I have these symptoms? First question, you can say yes or no, or a bit. But then the next question is, if I don't have them, how will they develop? What do they? What the symptoms are? Yeah, how can I understand them? That how to develop the symptoms. So the first symptom Krishna says, Vachahati yadha kama. He gives up all material desire. Sarvam bhaktamano bhaktam. Because his material desires, concoction of the mind, invention of the mind. Atmanipatmanadrishta. If you do that, you give that all up, you become the Atma, the soul, you become satisfied. And then you are Stita Prajna on the transcendental platform. That Supreme Personality of God said, "Oh, but when a man gives up all varieties of desires for sense gratification, which arise from mental concoction, and when his mind has purified finds satisfaction in himself alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness." That artificially, such sense desires cannot be stopped. But if one is engaged in Krishna consciousness, then automatically sense desires subside with extraneous effort. Such a transcendentally situated person has no sense desires resulting from petty materialism. Rather, he remains always happy in his natural position of eternally serving. So yes, so a transcendentally situated person has no desire resulting from petty materialism. Is always satisfied and happy in realizing himself as eternal servant. Just we will see now and go to the slide. So how to get a higher taste and come attached to hearing about Krishna? That this is 259. That's boundary from Bhakti. That's the end of our section. But first, before coming to that, we will look at the other characteristic symptoms. Text 56. Dukkha Zalkvikmana Sukha Soda Sita Muni Utsate. When we not disturb the mind even amidst the threefold miseries or elated when there is happiness, and we speak from attachment, fear, and anger, is called a sage of steady mind. Purport. The word Muni means one can agitate his mind in various ways for mental speculation without coming to a factual conclusion. So that's the Muni, the speculator. But the state of the Muni is different. That when we slow disturb the mind, even amidst the threefold miseries, or elated when there is happiness, or is free from attachment, fear, and anger, is called the state of steady mind. In the purport, when we surpass the stage of mental speculation and has come to the conclusion that Lord Krishna, for Vasudeva is everything, Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samatma Sudeva. So we will hear in the 7th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita 4 kinds of people who are in difficulty, and they decided to approach Krishna to solve their difficulty. And they are in the process of surrendering to Krishna. Chaturvida Chantaman Ichnas Tariman Akhtas Ichnas Bhakti Dhamsa Paratakshmi. 4 kinds, one wishing distress and the encounters gender, I think, from the Bible. Tom, he was in this place. He had a crocodile at this stage. He had a problem. That, and then the cue is that the four Kumaras, I think, that the cue is of the 6 from 97, and there was and those who want 12, two Kumaras found the 12. Around the kingdom of Bethlehem is found. But then the fourth count is those who want to know the absolute truth. That's the Jnani that time. And the Jnani Krishna says is the best of it. Because after many births, such a person comes to know Vasudeva Sarvamidhi. Krishna is everything. That, and that's mentioned here. But such a story is very rare. That, such a Krishna consciousness is not at all disturbed by the onslaughts of the dream of miseries. He accepts all miseries of the mercy of the Lord, thinking himself only worthy of more trouble, duties past misdeeds, and his deeds of his miseries by the grace of the Lord are minimized to the lowest. And for the service of the Lord, he's always daring and active, and he's not influenced by attachment or aversion. So when it's a great freedom, no miseries can access in this world can affect you anymore. That one remains happy in a most disturbing situation. That is Gita Prajna. But one fixed in Krishna consciousness is neither attachment nor detachment, because his life is dedicated in the service of the Lord. Consequently, he is not at all angry, even when his attempts are unsuccessful. Success or no success, Krishna's person is always steady in his. That's something we have to learn. Very important. Not to be disturbed by all this situation. It's all so the devotee accepts everything, whether happiness or distress, as the mercy of the Lord. And he continues his service. In such service, he's always daring and active, and he's not influenced by attachment and aversion. Text 57. Yasarvatrana Visnehastata Prapyan Subhan Non-Natina Vestita Sarvata Patistita. In a pure world, one is unaffected by whatever good or evil he may obtain, neither praising it nor despising it, spurning Christian God. So one who is not agitated by such material upheavals, who is unaffected by good and evil, is understood to be fixed in Krishna consciousness. But one who is fixed in Krishna consciousness is not affected by good and evil, because he's simply concerned with Krishna, who is good, absolute, that is not affected by good or bad. Srila Vishwanath Bhakti Thakur comments, the third question, what is the situation? Means, how does he engage his senses? What is his mentality? What is senses? When his senses are restrained from their object. Krishna answers this in the next two verses, which we will hear now. So what does he do? That Yada Samarate Sayam Gom Sarvasa Indayam Yaksya Tasya. When he is able to withdraw his senses from the sense object, as the total is called the density in the self, firmly fixed in perfect consciousness. But the test of the devotee for self-realized souls that is able to control the senses according to his plan. Most people, however, are servants of the senses and are thus directed by the dictation of the senses. That is the answer to the question of how the yogi is situated The senses are compared to venomous serpents, like a snake charmer. Unless one is able to follow the do's and the do nots, restricting oneself from sense enjoyment, it is not possible to be firmly fixed in Krishna consciousness. Clearly, the senses of the Krishna consciousness person are used only for some particular purpose in the service of the Lord and are withdrawn otherwise. Arjuna is being told here to use his sense for the service of the Lord instead of his own satisfaction. Keeping the senses always in the service of the Lord is the example set by the analogy of the tortoise who keeps the senses within. So that means we have to learn to protect our consciousness in everything what we do. That is very important. That I've been traveling with Ballad Nonwest for many years, and we went to many airports. And when Maharaj was waiting for boarding a flight, he would read in his iPad the database, and would be absorbed in reading, and he would not see anything until the boarding was there. And when the boarding was there, he would chant Hare Krishna. Always busy, no time for all these things. Thus withdrawing the sense. We are fixed in our service, and don't let the eyes go and enjoy seeing things go. But it's very, very dangerous. So we have to learn to protect our consciousness against influence of energy. Now, yes, the sense are given by the Lord, as I explained. We are very proud of our senses. The sense are given by the Lord, just as the Father gives his Son some joy. Similarly, we want to enjoy this material world, therefore material senses are given to us with the advice, all right, enjoy. You experience this material world, and then when you do not experience enjoyment, then you shall come back again to me. So the sins are actually meant for rendering service to the Lord. The sins belong to the Supreme Lord, just as these are my spectacles, and should be used for my purpose. Just like its room is locked, where we are sitting, the lock belongs to our landlady. We should always be conscious of that. There's no harm in using it, as long as we remember it's not ours. But if I think this is my lock, I don't have to pay the rent. I'm the owner, the trouble begins. We have rented this lock. That is fine, but I do not owe it. So these senses are given to us, to the Lord for his service. That it's not ours. 59. This is keepers. Isya Nurastante Nirasya Deland. Rasaram Asokya Samparam Vispan Bhakti. Though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense object remains, but seeking such engagement by experience a higher taste, is fixed in Krishna consciousness. Many devotees have that experience. They become devotees and they get a higher taste for that. And easily to give up meat eating, all these things, prasad is much better. That's a higher taste. That's the easy part. That the more tough part is to get the rate of the sexual attraction. That's the tough part. But one who sees the beauty of Supreme Lord in the course of his advancement of Krishna consciousness no longer has a taste for that material things. Therefore, restrictions are there for the less intelligent neophytes in the spiritual advancement of life, but such restrictions are only good until one actually has a taste for Krishna consciousness. When one is actually Krishna conscious, he automatically loses his taste for fair things. So we, in the beginning, following this four religious principles is everything. But then when one comes purified, one follows that automatically, because one has no interest anymore in the sense recognition. It becomes natural. But this is important, that we get this higher taste, that while practicing Krishna consciousness. And Srila Prabhupada, he so he's making a point. But there was time to experience a higher taste is fixed in consciousness, in the purport of 10:9 of Bhagavad Gita. Then it is said, devotees always are conversing about Krishna, speaking about Krishna, and they feel great satisfaction from it. But and they relish it. That's a higher taste. And we must hear and discuss about Krishna amongst ourselves. That's the cause of the higher taste. In the purpose of Prabhupada writes, in the beginning, one must derive satisfaction from the service itself. And in the advanced stage, one will relish ecstatic feelings. But in the beginning, we must derive satisfaction from the service itself. How do you do that? Getting satisfaction from your service. You get satisfaction from your service if you practice properly. We said practice properly, chanting, hearing the Bhagavatam, doing service, and follow the principles. That's one thing. But properly means also with the right motivation. If the motivation is only to please Krishna out of love and not asking something for oneself, you will feel satisfied. If there is a material motivation, that satisfaction will be minimal. But that is an important point. And then you will be satisfied. Then you will not come back or want to do something else. It's important to be satisfied. Very important. That many times we lose taste because of offense. It's temporary. Nearly all taste is done, but we have to continue. That much more things to say on this. That now we come to the last section. Now Krishna will start speaking about, and I spoke about Stita Prakya, the self-control devotee fixed in transcendence in devotional service. But if we allow to let go of sins without of control, and we start to contemplate and on enjoyment, what's going to happen? Krishna will explain now. Text 16. Yatatoyampi kauntiya purusatyapi panchita indriyani pranini aranti pasamamana. The senses are so strong and impetuous for Arjuna that they forcibly carry the mind even of a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them. And in the purport we have the story of Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra was a Kshatriya and he wanted to become a Brahmana. And he did great austerities. This was Satya Yuga. They were living 100,000 years long. So he did first austerities for 10,000 years. And he great, and by austerities he gets great power. And of course, Indra always then becomes worried. Why? Because Indra thinks he becomes so powerful that maybe he will take my post in heaven and become the king of Svarga. So he's afraid. And so King Indra spoke with one of the Apsaras, the heavenly society girls, to go down and to dance before Vishwamitra. So Vishwamitra was meditating, and suddenly he hears the ankle bells. He's thinking what's going on. And his mind said, yeah, you are very strong in austerity. You just have a peek. You look. And he opened his eyes, and the rest is history. He fell down from his fury of this. But he did not give up Vishwamitra. He went for another 10,000 years of austerities. And after 10,000 years, what happens with Indra? He became worried again. And he asked Menaka, the Apsara, to go again. So Menaka went, the same thing, ankle bells. And when Vishwamitra was hearing that, he remembered what happened 10,000 years ago. And he became angry. And he opened his eyes, and fire came out of his eyes and burned the body of the Apsara. But becoming angry is also to fall down. He fell down again. He didn't give up. He went for another 10,000 years of austerities. And what happened? King Indra became again worried. He went to the Apsaras and said, can you help? But they all said, no, we have seen what happened with Menaka. Forget. And then Brahma came down and gave Vishwamitra second initiation. But in this one, it's a little more simple to get the second initiation. You have to follow maybe the Bhakti Sastri before. It's not such a big thing, but for Vishwamitra to control his stance, it was a big endeavor. Yeah. But then this story is mentioned in the purport. And then always in that regard, Prabhupada quotes this verse of Yamunacharya. It's in the purport where Yamunacharya said, when I think of sex life with a woman, my face turns from it and I spit on it. No taste. But yes. But the Krishna consciousness is such fundamentally nice thing that automatically material enjoyment comes to taste from. It is as if a hungry man had satisfied his hunger by a sufficient quantity of nutritious vegetables. My hunger is also conquered the great yogi to Vasa Muni simply because his mind was engaged in Krishna consciousness. Sarvaimana Krishna Padara and Yoga Samspa Kontunani. Yes, on this verse, 60 of course, there are so many stories and quotes and lectures. I read one. Prabhupada in New York 1966. Our mind is so strong and so uncontrolled that even though we actively try to control our senses, usually we fail, just like with Swamitra. Yatatoya Prankya Pusatya Vipanchita. Vipanchita means a very learned man, not an ordinary man, but a learned man, trying to control his senses. Yatatoya Prankya Pusatya Vipanchita Indriyana. The sense are so strong that this is a serious command that one should not sit in a solitary place even with his mother, his sister, with his daughter. Why? Now Bhagavan in the Yanka moved it from Shama Vikapsati. This is the first from the temptation arise even from a behold his senses. If we let them go, they are rich. Therefore, what does it mean to control the senses? Engage it always in devotional service. Don't stop for a moment. Always engage. It's not a way to control the senses. It's like a child. A child who is not nicely engaged by the parents will do mischief. For sure, mischief. But when it's nicely engaged, no problem. We should always engage our children in Krishna consciousness. Yeah. 61. Tani Savani Samyanya Yukta Shutamatva Vasya Simya Vita Sevaka Apistita. When you restrain it, keeping them under full control and fixes his punishment upon me, is known as a man of steady intelligence. The one who restrains his sense, keeping them under full control and fixes his punishment upon me, is known as a man of steady intelligence. And unless one's Krishna consciousness, it's not at all possible to control the sense. Samuni unnecessarily became angry out of pride and therefore could not check his senses. But the devotee of the Lord silently tolerate all the sages' injustice and thereby emerged victorious. And then Srila Prabhupada quotes Ambarish Maharaj from the 9th canto of the Bhagavatam. And that's the way to control the sense. We should take note of that. How to control the sense. Savai Mana Krishna Padana Vinda Yoga Samstakam Tipanam. Ava Ayamangya Matsa Visamchitam Prasasya Tattadodai. Okum Navikanda Darshini Krishna Krishna Katra Spaksin Kasanganam. Ganam Sudat Pada Sosha Stava Stava Vim Shimad Lasya Gatnam Tatatite. Hare Krishna Padana Satpane Shiro Vishikesha Padana Ganam Sadasya Natukama Kamyaya Yatmos King Ambarish fixed his mind on the lotus feet of Krishna. So we will always manmana. We should try to think of Krishna or in relationship with Krishna. And engage his both in describing the abode of the Lord. So when he was speaking about Krishna in relation to Krishna, or in relation to the service. His hands in cleansing the temple, cleaning the floor in the temple. His ears in hearing the pastimes of the Lord. That's what we are doing right now. His eyes in seeing the form of the Lord. That's what we did do a little before in the dating. His body in touching the body of the devotees, his nostrils in smelling the flavor of flowers offered to the lotus feet of the Lord, he does that every morning. His tongue in tasting tulsi offered to him. His legs in traveling to the holy place where the temple is situated. So when we come to the temple, that we are using nowadays, and the legs are controlled. Its temple is situated, yeah. It is head in operational basis. We do also everyone. And his desires in fulfilling the desires of the mission of the program, desire of the Lord. And all these qualifications made him fit to become a not para devotee of the Lord. Not para devotee is significant. Yeah. The sense can be completely controlled only by the strength of devotion. The Yoga Sutra also prescribes meditation on Krishna and not meditation on the void. The so-called yogis who meditate on something other than Krishna simply waste their time in vain search for phantasmagoria. We have to be Krishna conscious to the person, devoted to the person of devoted. This is the aim of real yoga. So the devotee asked at the end of the lecture to Srila Prabhupada, you have lust in your mind. And Prabhupada said yes. Of course, Prabhupada was pure. Then later that morning, the devotee and Srila went out and was stepping into a car, was waiting to drive into another temple, and the devotee, whilst that person opened the door and he looked at him and said, yes, I have lust in my mind, but I have no time for it. Always too busy engaged. The problem comes when we stop engagement. Then you get in problems. Then you get in the problems, and what will happen? What are these problems? Text 22, 63. 52, 63. Tayato Pisapum Samsangaste Pachayate Sangatayate Kamakodichayate. While contemplating the object of the sense, the person develops attachment for them. And upon such attachment, that lust develops. Upon lust, then anger arises. Yodavanti sama smitipans sabudunya sabunan spana. From anger, complete delusion arises, and from delusion, bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is blocked, and when intelligence is blocked, one falls down into the material form. So it's like a few stories. The traditional story I tell of the Sunday piece on this earth, you have a fish in the water. And you have a fisherman, and he puts a line in the water. Now he enters the bed. And the fish comes and says, I'm going to enjoy. Sees the bed. He comes, and then he comes out of bed. He grabs the bed. At that moment, the fisherman lifts up the line and takes the fish from the hook, takes the fish, cuts it over the inside, outside, and then he fries the fish. The fish becomes fried. It's always like that. We try to enjoy this material world, and we become fried, frustrated. And that's what's happening. This lust takes away our being. And we have to be very careful where we meditate on it. Fall down, becoming Krishna conscious begins with meditation on Krishna, Manmana, by hearing, by 6-9 methods of devotion study. It dilates meditation, but fall down starts also with meditation, dilatate. And everyone knows of this, especially the man of the publicity. They are going to make you meditate on yes, that you have an iPhone, but you need the latest one. Otherwise, you are not up to date. And so much publicity and trying to buy, but then you buy it and oh, it's the same of the previous phone, not much. You become frustrated. Why did I buy it? So that's what's happening. But of course, then when the frustration is high, one becomes angry that And when one is angry, one loses one's intelligence. Did you ever try to explain something to someone who is really angry? Good luck. But, and that's a problem everywhere. I saw in a company, and they have in the corner there was a little stack of papers, and there was a notice being adjustable called aggression paper, and then a manual. If you feel angry, you take a paper and you wrap it together, and with all your force, you throw it in the corner. That was on how to use aggression paper. That's, so it's so much against aggression. This frustration leads to anger. Anger, you lose your intelligence and you fall down. But in the purport, Prabhupada speaks about Haridas Thakur. He was, he was allured by Maya Devi himself. But Haridas Thakur said to the lady, I will enjoy with you, but first I have to do my duty. I have to finish my rounds first. And then she was hearing and he was chanting, and became nearly midnight. And then he said, sorry, I could not finish my rounds today. But surely tomorrow I will finish. You come back tomorrow. And it took 3 days, and then by hearing Haridas Thakur was chanting, she became purified and surrendered. So anyway, it's a whole story in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So that is real control of something. No. And then 64. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Ragadveshika Muktasu Vishyam Vyasham Atmavasya Atma Prasadam Angacham. But the person free from all attachment and aversion, able to control his son to regulate the principles of freedom, can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord. That's the regulated principles of freedom. Most people will say, oh, this Hare Krishna for people. They cannot eat what they want, they cannot drink what they want, they are controlled by their goal. Poor people. But the point is, unless you follow this principle, you are controlled by your mind. And this is the freedom from the control of the mind. We are going to control the mind. And we will speak about that in a while in verse 2:7. It will become very clear there what it means. So if you have questions, wait until you have heard that verse. Unless the sons are engaged in constant service of the Lord, is every chance of fall. A Krishna conscious person is concerned only with the satisfaction of Krishna and nothing else. Therefore, he is transcendental to all attachment and detachment. If Krishna wants, the devotee can do anything which is ordinarily undesirable. And if Krishna does not want, he shall not do that which he would have ordinarily done for his own satisfaction. Therefore, to act or not to act is within his control, because he acts under the direction of Krishna. He acts under the direction of Krishna, not under the direction of his mind, not how he feels it, or whatever. This Krishna consciousness movement is the closest merge of the Lord, which the devotee can achieve in spite of his being attached to the sensual platform. So that is the most potent process, is devotional service. That it brings us out of the control the material energy. And the control of the material energy, Maya, works to your mind. It's your mind. Your mind is made of material energy. And when the mind is impure, it's a devil's. Pashadi Salvadukanam Anyashu Pachayate Pratnasya Yogudyapaya Vatistate. For one that is satisfied in Krishna consciousness, the threefold mysteries of material existence exist no longer. In such satisfied consciousness, one's intelligence is soon well established. So I told this story a few times, but when you are fixed in Krishna consciousness, you don't consider this attachment and aversion of the mind. You are free from it. Because you are absorbed Krishna, but it depends what you are absorbed in. I remember Bhakti Charamaj, I saw many times he was taking darshan of the deities and he didn't see anything on the deities. Completely, deeply absorbed. When I was in Mayapur, 96, we did Parigram in the Navatrip Mandal Park. We did Parigram, and during this Parigram, at the beginning of this Parigram, Guru Maharaj said, "You have now arrived in the spiritual world. Don't come down with your consciousness. Remains on the higher platform, hearing about Krishna, remembering Krishna, chanting Krishna's name. Don't come down again. If you come down again, Maya is there." So we should always be on the Krishna conscious platform. But to do that, you need to hear a lot and absorb yourself. And then you will create this ability to really to do that. Because Krishna will now say yes, if you are not doing that, then text 66, Nasti Buddha Yuktas Nanas Yuktasya Bhavna Nasa Vaivayata Santiva Santatya Buddhaskam. One who is not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness can have neither continental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there is a possibility of peace. And now there will be any peace with, how can there be happiness without peace? The person must become peaceful. Unless one is Krishna consciousness, there is no possibility of peace. They can only have real peace. When those who consider that Bhaktam Shagatapasan Sarvarup Mashvan Sudan Sarvutam Patman Samhimichan, Krishna is a proprietor of everything. He's the original enjoyer that and the friend of all living peace. Then one becomes peaceful. But that peace can only be attained by Krishna consciousness. Disturbance is due to want of an ultimate goal. And when one is certain that Krishna is the enjoyer, proprietor, in front of everyone and everything, then one can be of a steady mind. Therefore, one who is engaged without relation to Krishna is certainly always in distress and is without peace. The Krishna consciousness is a self-manifest peaceful condition which can be achieved only in relation to Krishna. 67. This is a warning. Indriyanam Icharatam Yanmanam Vidiyati. Tatasyam Praharati Pratyam Vayonam Homas. The storm, the wind sweeps away a boat on the water. Even one of the roaming suns on which the mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence. So always use the sun in the service of Krishna. Don't let them meditate on something. if you want a break, give the mind a break. Let it go for a moment. Never do that. That you are lost. That you start to meditate on it, and there's a limit. It goes too fast, and you sense constant control. So one example is scrolling on the internet. You want some what I'm going to buy. Don't do that. If you want to buy something, know what you need for Krishna, and only do that. Don't scroll Facebook for nice stories. It's poison. That this social media is many times a platform. It can be used for devotees, but mostly I see they make offenses to it. Sometimes they murder the character of the devotee just on the internet. Takes 5 minutes. Good influence. Super apparat. Stay away from these things. These things are very dangerous for your devotional life. If you want, and then you hear all these offenses. Be really careful. That 68. Tasma yasya go nihitani sarvasa indriyani inyate vyastasya bhagavatisya. Therefore, Almighty Aunt, when you sense that is strange for the object is worthy of steady intelligence. Purpose. As enemies are curbed by superior force, the senses can only be curbed, not by any human endeavor, but only by keeping them engaged in the service of the Lord. We should remember that again and again. Controlling the senses equals engaging the sense in the mind in the service of the Lord. And we will hear more about that at the end of the third chapter. Text 69. Yanisha sarva bhutanam tasyam shrati samyani yasyam shrati bhutani sanisha patatamani. For this night for beings is the time for awakening for the self-control, and the time for awakening of all beings is the night for the introspective stage. In the beginning of the 90s, I was in a Namhata in Ghent in Flanders, and that was in the middle of the city. And we were on the first floor in the ashram, and it was summer. And in the summer, we would get up, take a bath, and then open the window. It was summer. We opened the window, 4 o'clock in the morning. At the other side of the road is a nightclub. And there they opened the door. And they opened the door, and first a lot of smoke came out. And then people came out, waggling from right to left, drinking, and they were going home. Their day was over. And our day was starting. That we got that many times. There are 2 classes of intelligent men. One is intelligent in material activity of sense gratification, and the other is introspective and awake to the cultivation of self-realization. Yeah. Whereas the man in materialistic activities, being asleep to self-realization, dreaming of varieties of sense pleasure, feeling sometimes happy, sometimes disturbed in a sleeping condition. Introspective stage is always indifferent to materialistic happiness and distress. It goes on with its self-realization activities. It's undisturbed by material reactions. Yes. Now text 70, that's a very important verse. Apoyanama matsala tadishtam samudana pavavisam vidata. Tatpat kamayam bhakshanti sarvesa samapnoti. A person is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires that enters like rivers into the ocean, which is ever filled, but is always still, and alone achieve peace and not a man who strives to satisfy such desire. Now here, desires come up into the mind. When desires come up into the mind, where are they coming from? Yeah. They arise from lust, from seeing sense of it. Any other proposal? The desires coming on the soul. And you? Previous parent. Well, as far as I understand, desires come from different platforms. First, the desire can come from the soul. But Krishna knows our desire before we know it. Because the mind is material energy. It's controlled by the super soul. Very important. Krishna knows our desire before we know it. But it can come from the soul. But mostly, it doesn't come from the soul. We went to so many lifetimes. And in previous lifetimes, what did we do? We had so many material desires. And what's the characteristic of a material desire? It's never fulfilled. Dus we een alleenheid hebben, dat weer in the third chapter. It's never fulfilled. They did a survey of billionaires. They had all $1 billion. They asked, what do you want? They all said, we want $2 billion. More and more and more. Never satisfied. So this material desires are never satisfied. So Krishna is in our heart. And we forgot our desires from previous lives. But Krishna did not forget. So now and then he brings such a desire in our minds. And the desire pops up. Now, the desire pops up if we are a conditioned soul identifies the mind. I'm the mind. So it immediately thinks this is my desire. And it thinks a good idea. Let's go for it. So he grasps the desire. It's mine. And he's going to work to fulfill it. But here in this verse is a different situation. This is the consciousness of a devotee. It sees the desire popping up in his mind. And then he thinks, oh, if I fulfill that desire, will that please Krishna? Is that what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita? Should I do this? No, this is not material desire. It's selfish. I don't want to fulfill it. And he does not run off it. He just let it where it is. He's not disturbed by it even. And that's what's mentioned. It is a flow of desires in the mind. The devotee is not disturbed by them. He let them go. And then when he says, I don't fulfill it, but you can only do that when you are a devotee. You can only do that when you are not identifying with the mind. If you realize you are not the mind. Mostly the mind overpowers us. But the beginning, not to identify with the mind, is following the way. Otherwise, you cannot do that. So that means all materialistic people are crazy. Yeah, following their minds. Thinking they are the mind. Completely under the control of material nature. But the devotee, as mentioned here in 264, following the regulated principles of freedom, it becomes free from the dictation of the mind. And he follows the dictations of Krishna. That's the difference between the consciousness of the devotee and the crazy people in this form. So Prabhupada said only devotees are sane. All these non-devotees, crazy. They identify with the crazy mind. And their suffering is without end. Dat is the proof of a Krishna consciousness person. Yet not all inclinations of material sense perfectly, although the desires are present. The desires pop up into the mind, but it's not going to do that. And I've, in my process of purification, I've personally experienced that. The mind still meditates on things. Should I do this or that? And the meditation is there, but you never do it. You never finally do it. But finally you conclude it's wrong. If you are fixed up in devotion service. Therefore Krishna concludes, Vihaya kamam yasa punam shati nishpya nirma munirangaran satam tima vigatsati. A person who is giving up the desires for sanctification, who lives free from desires, who has given up all desire, all sense of proprietorship, and is devoid of false ego, he alone can attain real peace. Different things mentioned here. We can give a seminar on it. How to attain peace. Give up desires for sense gratification. How to do that? That's the whole process of Krishna consciousness. We have to explain that. Give up sense of proprietorship. That and avoid of false ego, act as a servant of Krishna, not as a servant of your senses and your mind. People are servants of their senses and mind. But we should not serve the mind and the sense. We should serve Krishna and never serve the mind and all these material desires. Materially desires person certainly knows that everything belongs to Krishna. Isavasyam idam sarvam. You will study Sisa Upanishad. And that's the first mantra. There the Isavasya principle is described. The Krishna is the owner of it. And we have right to our quota, what we need. What we need. Not what we desire, what we need. This transcendental knowledge is based on self-realization, namely knowing perfectly well that every living entity is an eternal part and parcel of Krishna, his spiritual identity, and that the eternal position of living entity is therefore never on the level of Krishna or greater than him. This is the stand of Krishna consciousness. So this gives a hint to Bhakti. We get a hint of Bhakti at the end. 72. Esavamasita Bhaktan Nanam Prapyapi Mutsati Stitvasya Mandakari Pri Brahmanipanan Ritsati. That is the way of spiritual godly life after attaining Vishnu man is not below that. If one is situated even at the hour of death, if one is thus situated, one can enter into the kingdom of God. So one can attain Krishna consciousness or divine life at once within a second, or one may not attain such state of life even after millions of births. It is a matter of understanding and accepting the fact. And that refers to Katpanga Maharaj, where it called for the demigods, and the demigods were asking him, can we give you a boon? You did a great service. And Katpanga Maharaj was very intelligent. He said, tell me first how long I have still to live. And the demigod said, only a moment. And Katpanga Maharaj decided to fix his mind on Krishna and leave his form. That was in a moment. But anyway, we are not so advanced that we have, of course, we have marriage breaks in 7 days. And we here from the Bhagavatam, Narada in his previous life needed 4 months here in the Bhagavatam from the Bhaktivedanta to become Krishna conscious. Also quick. Dhruva Maharaj only 3-4 months of therapies and became Krishna conscious. Just quite quick. But of course, if we want still to enjoy a bit in this form, and something, we must have the determination. But determination comes with association of pure devotees. Wow, yeah. So yes, this is the second chapter, but still I actually okay. Yeah. So how to get a higher taste and become attached to hearing about Krishna with Krishna? If we are attached to other things, Srimad Bhagavatam tells us that we are no better than a cow or an ass. One who identifies as the first Yatma, Buddhi, yeah, and so on. One who identifies himself as the inert body composed of mucus, bile, and air, who assumes his wife and family are permanently his own, who thinks an earth and image, or the land of his birth are worshipped, and who sees a place of pilgrimage merely the water there, but who never identifies himself with, feels kinship with, or worships, or even visits those who are wise in spiritual truth. Such a person is no better than a cow or an ass. So if we go on pilgrimage, we must go to hear about Krishna from the pure devotees. That's the purpose of the sadhus. So 2:3:19. Men who are like dogs, frogs, camels, and acid praises those men will never listen to the transcendental paths and of Lord Krishna, delivered from evil. Who are they? Yeah, they are like camels eating thorns. A camel is a kind of animal that takes pleasure in eating thorns. The thorns mixed with its fresh blood create a taste for the foolish camel, and he enjoys the thorn eating. The old thorn eating business with false pleasure. Yeah. A person who wants to enjoy family life and worldly life, yeah, is doing the same thing. Then you have the donkey. The donkey is carrying a big load because what is his reward? Some grass given by his master. That's why he's doing it. But grass is everywhere. But still, yes, carrying the overloaded cart. They never glorify Krishna. I never heard them glorify Krishna. They are not into politics. A problem. People are not attracted to Krishna, but instead they are attracted to mortal persons. How to reorient our lives. How to do that? Hearing the Bhagavatam daily and get a taste for Krishna. Then you're supposed to fall down. Stopping the tendency for sense gratification. We have a tendency in many births, and it becomes our next second nature. It's not easy to stop it. That take according to one's need, not according to one's speed. That's spoke about many times that there falls a bag of rice from a car. It's on the road. A bird will come and just take it on. But a man will come, take it, fill his belly, and put the rest in storage. According to one's speed. Marriage is not for self gratification. Anyway, I'm not going to comment on it. But if selected, if you select me, I promise to keep making promises. Promises, what are they called? Promising programs of self gratification. But we need sense gratification. But how much that to keep stolen what we can? Isabazmi Lamsavans Yatkin Sacha Chamsi Atini Katina Uchitamat Sridana. So this is the promise of the first mantra. Of course, we have the invocation and then the first verse. Everything animate and inanimate, inanimate within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord, and should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself. We are satisfied of the quota, and one should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong. To have all different quotas, be my the different quotas than the other ones. When Queen Kunti was cooking, she then everything she cooked, she divided in two, and half would go to Bhima and the rest she would divide. So we have different bodies, different quotas. So we have the ant here. That's the word said to Prabhupada. Prabhupada, there are ants on the street. Prabhupada smiled as if they won't eat much. It's Shakna Sinat Panam Chitpanam Samsyam Yoganat Atishpatis Prabhupada. Therefore, the doubts which have arisen in your heart should be slashed with the weapon of knowledge. Antric yoga over standard fight. That's 270. Impressions of previous lifetimes are stored in our subconscious. It's not important. That the impressions of our previous lives are influencing they are influencing us on this life from our subconscious. The influence of the three modes of nature influences over many lifetimes. Something to be aware of. We have the story of the Dhruva Maharaj and the desires in his previous life, wanting a kingdom created on his father, rich and grandfather. So that's Srimad Bhagavatam 271. Anartha means what does not give spiritual benefit. The entire body is an anartha. It should be superfluous, we don't need it. But it's a covering. So everyone wants a peaceful, calm life. Yes. We are here and here out to do that. Be fixed in our Krishna consciousness. What do I need to work? Why do I need to work so hard to get material facilities? Goodness means it's not a sentiment. Krishna consciousness. Only a mukta sangha person, a liberated person, can understand. But cannot be understood by karma yoga, jnana yoga, or jnana yoga, but simply by chanting Hare Krishna. So, thank you very much. 10 minutes for questions. Yes. We are the cause of our material desire. I think about the root of our material desire. Is it our desire from previous life, or is it the super soul reminding? The root of our material desire is that we are forgotten Krishna. And because the root of our material desires is that we are forgotten Krishna. And because we are forgotten Krishna, we see ourselves as the enjoyer. And what do we want to enjoy? What we want to enjoy, we want to be mine. And that's the cause of our suffering. So the root cause of material desires is we have forgotten Krishna. Krishna is the enjoyer of that, not we. It's a mistake. That's the root cause. That brings Krishna again in the foreground, and then we start to understand our mistake, our ignorance, and we start to serve Krishna, give up these material desires and the expectations to be happy in this world and so on. We want to make Krishna happy. If we want to make Krishna happy, we will be happy. That's the experience of practical experience.
Hi, Krishna. In a couple of the reports, when you spoke on Srila Prabhupada mentioned that we are to be neither attached nor detached. And I thought that before what was being said is to be detached from the result of our activity. I'm interested in what it means and how one can be also detached, or not detached, neither attached nor detached.
Yeah. And that will be explained in a quick chapter. One becomes attached to Krishna, becomes attached to things in this world. That's the only way. Becoming attached to Krishna. On the side effect, you become detached from the things in this world. That is the basis. And that time. But what things in this world concerned, don't be concerned. You will learn that in Nectar of Devotion that where Rupa Goswami explains what real renunciation is. Real renunciation, Rupa Goswami said, means understanding that everything belongs to Krishna, not to us, and that we must engage in Krishna's service. So we must be in a neutral position. A neutral position means it belongs to Krishna, and we engage in the service of Krishna. So we cannot be, we are attached for sense gratification, or we are averse to the same thing. These are strong inputs. We must be in a neutral position. But like in the 10th canto, we have the story of Sudama Vipra. Sudama Vipra went to the Gurukul together with Krishna, and in the Gurukul, later they separated, and Sudam became a poor Brahmin. He was so poor. Personal, one can say he's a person associated with Krishna. So poor. Why is he so poor? Because he was averse for sense gratification. Because taking sense gratification gets in the way of my Krishna consciousness. I don't want it. They didn't want it, but Krishna didn't give him. It's in the heart. But Krishna wanted to correct it. And his wife complained. He said, my husband, it's my duty to serve you, but I don't have anything to serve you. How can I do my service? So she was not asking for herself, she was asking for her service. And why don't you ask Krishna? Anyway, we know he went to see Krishna in Dwarka with a little chipped rice on his arm, in the bits of his arm, under the bits of his arms, and the whole story unfolds. And he's with Krishna, and Krishna worships him, and they speak about their pastimes together in the Gurukul, going to get a wood for the teacher in the forest, getting lost during a storm, and they have a good time. But Sudama Vipra did not want to ask anything to Krishna. Funny, he did not ask anything, and he came back. But his experience in Dwarka was, oh, there are also, he saw oh, so much opulence, and there are also devotees. He started to think, and then he came home, and he saw his hut changed in a palace and all these things. And he said, all right, Krishna wants me to enjoy it, to have this for my service. And he started to live like before, very simply, in this palace. But he got rid of his aversion. He came to the neutral position. Krishna wanted to come to the neutral. Not neutral positions, the position of real enunciation. You use in Krishna's service. That's the basis. You will hear more about nectar. Okay? But yes. Is anasaktasya vishayam yunyato relating interpretation.
But that's 61. King Ambarisha is using fixed his mind. During the pastime of the Lord, his eyes seeing the form of the Lord, his body touching the body of the devotee. What does that mean?
Yeah, that's when we meet the devotees, we embrace them. Of course, man, women, don't mix them. But out of affection, that's a kind of using the body in the devotional service. And that's my government should always ambition. It was this affectionate nature. And, good. And maybe a last question. Yeah.
So I wrote something down, I just wanted to make sure it was correct. Determination comes with association of pure devotees. Is that?
Yes. Yeah, and when we associate with pure devotees, the determination will affect you. When I was serving Bhakti so much, it was so intense. So it was so intense. He was so determined to serve the mission that he would not lose a second. And so one thing after another, I could not keep up with him. Such a determination that I learned from that importance to be fixed and determined. I will only do this devotional service and become completely absorbed and dedicated to it. And that is the path for liberation. Thank you. Good. Thank you very much. Shanta Simon Bhagavad Gita.